collaboration with Arts and SAU. We're super thrilled to have you all here. My name is Joanne Shaver. I'm the director, and there's that. So, upcoming at Mag Arts is a celebration of Black History on February 25th. So if you're interested in that, please come. It will be wonderful. As well as Up and a Murder, which is written and directed by Miss Janet Ryder-Babbitt, the executive director here at Mag Arts. She's spectacular, I'm sure all of you know. If you don't know, you should. So please silence your cell phones, and there will be a 10-minute intermission, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, I think I left it on the table. It's gonna rain tonight.
Paper says so?
Yeah, right here.
Can't rain.
Hiya. Hey, Frank, what's doing?
Oh, nothing. Walking off my breakfast. Isn't that beautiful? Not a cloud.
Yeah, nice.
Every Sunday ought to be like this.
You want the paper?
What's the difference? It's all bad news. What's today's calamity?
Oh, I don't know. I don't read the news part much anymore. It's more interesting in the want ads.
Why? Trying to buy something?
No, I'm just interested. To see what people want, you know. For instance, here's someone looking for 2 Newfoundland dogs. Now, what's the man to do with 2 Newfoundland dogs?
That is funny.
Here's another one. Wanted. Old dictionaries. High prices paid. What's a man to do with an old dictionary?
Why not? It's probably a book collector.
You mean he'll make a living out of that?
Sure, there's a lot of them.
All the kinds of business going on. In my day, you were either a doctor, a lawyer, or you worked in a shop. Now you can...
Well, I was going to be a forester once.
Well, that shows you. In my day, there was no such thing. You look at a page like this, you realize how ignorant you are.
Hey, what happened to your tree?
Ain't it awful? The wind must have got it last night. You heard the wind, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a mess in my yard too. What a pity. What did Kate say?
They're all asleep yet. I'm waiting on her to see it.
You know, it's funny.
What?
Larry was born in August. He's been 27 this month. And his tree blows down.
I'm surprised you remember his birthday, Frank. That's nice.
Well, I'm working on his horoscope.
How can you work on his horoscope? That's for the future, ain't it?
Well, what I'm doing is this, see? Larry was reported missing on November 25th, right?
Yeah.
Well, then we can assume that if he was killed, it was on November 25th. Now, what Kate wants is...
Oh, Kate asked you to make him a horoscope?
Yeah. What she wants is to find out whether or not November 25th was a favorable day for Larry.
What's that, a favorable day?
Well, a favorable day for a person is a fortunate day, according to his stars. In other words, it would be completely impossible for him to have died on his favorable day.
Well, was that his favorable day, November 25th?
That's what I'm working on to find out. It takes time. See, the point is, if November 25th was his favorable day, then it's completely possible that he's alive somewhere because, I mean, it's possible. I didn't even see you there.
Is he talking sense?
Him? He's alright. He's just out of his mind, that's all.
The problem with you is you don't believe in anything.
And your trouble is that you'll believe in anything. You haven't seen my kid this morning, have you?
No.
Imagine. He walked out the door with his thermometer right out of his bag.
What a problem. One look at a girl will take a temperature.
That boy's gonna be a real doctor. He's smart.
Over my dead body, he'll be a doctor. Good beginning, too.
Why not? It's an honorable profession.
Frank, will you stop talking like a civics book?
I saw a movie a couple weeks ago, reminded me of you. There was a doctor in that picture.
Don Amici.
I think it was, yeah. And he worked in his basement discovering things. That's what you should do. You can help humanity instead of...
Oh, I would love to help humanity on a Warner Brothers salary.
That's a very good one, Jim.
Where was the beautiful girl that was supposed to be here?
Annie came.
Sleeping upstairs. Picked her up on the 1 o'clock train last night. Wonderful thing. Girl leaves here a scrawny kid. A couple years go by, and she's a regular woman. Hardly even recognize her. And she's been running in and out of this yard her whole life. It's a very happy family used to live in your house, Jim.
Like to meet her. The block could use a pretty girl. The whole damn neighborhood, not a thing to look at, except for my wife, of course.
Mrs. Adams is on the phone, you dog.
Such is the condition which prevails, my love, my light.
Don't sniff around me. And give her a nasty answer. I can smell her perfume over the phone.
What's the matter with her now?
I don't know, dear. She sounds like she's in terrible pain. Unless her mouth is full of candy.
Well, did you ask her to lie down?
Oh, she likes it better when you tell her to lie down.
Oh.
And when are you going to see Mr. Hubbard?
My dear, Mr. Hubbard is not sick, and I have better things to do than to sit there and hold his hand.
It seems to me that for $10, you can hold his hand.
If your son would like to play golf, tell him I'm ready. He'd like to take a trip around the world for 30 years.
Why do you needle him? He's a doctor. Women are supposed to call him up.
All I said was Mrs. Adams is on the phone. Oh, can I have some of your parsley?
Yeah, sure. You were a nurse for too long, Susie. You're too realistic.
Oh, now you've said it.
Frank, the toaster. Hurry up.
Hello.
The toaster's off again.
Well, plug it in. I just fixed it.
Please, dear, fix it back like it was before.
I don't know why you can't learn to turn on a simple thing like a toaster.
Thomas Edison, he's very handy, really.
Did the wind get your train?
Yeah, last night.
What a pity. Annie, get in?
She'll be down soon. Wait till you see her, Sue. She's a real knockout.
I should have been a man. People are always introducing me to beautiful women. Tell her to come by. I'm sure she'd love to see we did with the place. Oh, and thanks.
Is she still unhappy, Joe?
Annie? I don't suppose she goes around dancing on her toes, but she seems to be over it.
Is she going to get married? Is there any on?
I suppose. Say, it's been a couple years already. She can't mourn a boy forever.
It's so strange. Annie's here and not even married. And I've got 3 babies.
That's what war does. I had 2 sons, and now I have 1. In my day, to have a son was an honor. Today, a doctor can make $1 million if he could just bring a boy into the world without a trigger finger.
You know, I was just reading. Hiya, Chris.
Lydia, come in here. If you want the toaster to work, don't plug in the malted mixer.
Did I?
And the next time I fix something, don't tell me I'm crazy. Now come in here.
I'll never hear the end of this one.
Well, what's the difference? Instead of toast, have a malted. You want the paper?
That's all right, just the book section.
You always read the book section, but you never buy any books.
I like to keep abreast of my ignorance.
What's that? Every week a new book comes out?
Lots of new books.
All different?
All different.
Is Annie up yet?
Mother's giving a breakfast in the dining room.
See what happened to the tree?
Yeah.
Well, what's Mother going to say?
You're finally up.
Bert's here! Where's Tommy? He ran off with his father's thermometer again.
He's taking a reading.
What?
But it's only oral.
Well, there's no harm in that. What's news, Bert?
Nothing.
Then you couldn't have made a complete inspection of the neighborhood. When I first made you a policeman, you always brought me something new. Now nothing's ever new.
Except for some kids on 30th Street. They started kicking a can down the block, and I made them go away. Because you were sleeping.
Now you're talking, Bert. Now you're operating. Next thing you know, I'm liable to make you a detective.
Can I see the jail now?
Seeing the jail ain't allowed, Bert. You know that.
Oh, I bet you there's a name in a jail. I didn't see any bars on the cellar window.
Bert, on my word of honor, there is a jail in the basement. I showed you my gun, didn't I?
But that's a hunting.
That's an arresting gun.
Then why don't you arrest anybody? Thomas said another dirty word to Doris yesterday, and you didn't even demote him.
Yeah, that's a dangerous character, that Tommy. What'd he say?
Oh, I can't say that.
Well, give me an idea.
I can't, it's not a nice word.
Here, whisper it in my ear. I'll close my eyes. I probably won't even hear you.
I can't, Mr. Keller.
Don't make him do that.
All right, Bert, I'll take your word for it. Now get up there and peel them eyes.
For what?
For what? Bert, the neighborhood's dependent on you. Policemen don't ask questions. Now peel them eyes.
Okay.
And mom's the word, Bert.
About what?
Just in general. Be very careful.
Okay.
I got all the kids crazy.
One day they'll all come in here and beat your brains out.
What'll mother say? Think we ought to tell her before she sees it?
She saw it.
How? I was the first one up.
She was out here when it broke.
When?
About 4 this morning. I heard it cracking. I woke up and looked out. She was standing right here when it cracked.
What was she doing out here at 4 in the morning?
I don't know. After it cracked, she ran back in the house and cried in the kitchen.
Did you talk to her?
No, I figured the best thing was to leave her alone.
She cried hard?
I could hear right through the floor of my room.
What was she doing out here at that hour? She's dreaming of him again. Walking around at night.
Yes, she is.
She's getting like she was when he died. What's the meaning?
I don't know the meaning of it. But I know one thing, Dad. We've made a terrible mistake with Mother.
What?
You know, being dishonest with her. That kind of thing always pays off, and now it's paying off.
What do you mean dishonest?
You know that Larry's not coming back, and I know. So why do we allow her to go on thinking that we believe with her?
What do you want to do? Argue with her?
I don't want to argue with her, but it's time she realized that nobody believes Larry's alive anymore. You know, why shouldn't she dream of him, walk the nights waiting for him? Do we contradict her? Do we say straight up that we have no hope, that we haven't had any hope for years now?
You can't say that to her.
We've got to say it to her.
How are you going to prove it? Can you prove it?
For God's sakes, 3 years. Nobody comes back after 3 years. It's insane.
To you it is. And to me, but not to her. You can talk yourself blue in the face, but there's no body and there's no grave, so where are you?
Will you sit down, Dad? I want to talk to you.
The problem is the damn newspapers. Every month another boy pops up out of nowhere and the next one's got to be Larry.
All right. Sit down. You know why I asked Annie here, don't you?
Why?
You know.
Well, I have an idea, but what's the story?
Go and ask her to marry me.
Well, that's only your business, Chris.
You know it's not only my business.
Well, what do you want me to do? You're old enough to know your own mind.
Then it's all right. I can go ahead with it.
I mean, you're going to want to make sure Mother isn't
Then
going...
it isn't just my business.
I'm just saying.
Sometimes you infuriate me. You know that? Isn't it your business, too? If I tell this to Mother and she throws a fit about it, you have such a talent for ignoring things.
I ignore what I gotta ignore. The girl is Larry's girl.
She's not Larry's girl.
From Mother's point of view, he is not dead, and you have no right to take his girl. You can go from there if you know where to go, but I don't, see? I don't know. What can I do for you?
I don't know why it is, but every time I reach out for something that I want, I have to pull back because other people will suffer. My whole bloody life, time after time after time.
Well, you're a considerate fellow. There's nothing wrong with
To
that.
hell with that.
Have you asked Annie yet?
No, I wanted to settle this first.
Well, how do you know she'll even marry you? Maybe she feels the same way Mother does.
Well, if she does, then that's the end of it. From her letters, I think she's forgotten. Don't worry, I'll find out. And then we'll thrash this out with Mother. Right? Dad, don't ignore me.
The trouble is you don't see enough women. You never did.
So what? I'm not fast with her.
I just don't understand why it has to be Annie.
Because it is.
Well, that's a good answer, but it don't answer anything. It's been 5 years. You haven't seen her since you went to war.
I can't help it. I know her best. I was brought up next door to her. These years when I think of someone for my wife, I think of Annie. What do you want, a diagram?
I don't want a diagram. She thinks he's coming back, Chris. You marry that girl, you're pronouncing him dead. Then what'll happen to Mother? Do you know? Because I don't.
All right then, Dad.
Just give it some more thought.
I've given it 3 years of thought. I'd hope that if I waited, Mother would forget Larry and we'd have a regular wedding and everything happy. But if that can't happen here, then I'll get out.
What the hell is this?
I'll get out. I'll get married and I'll move someplace else, maybe in New York.
Are you crazy?
You know, I've been a good son too long. A good sucker, and I'm through with it.
You've got a business here. What the hell is this?
The business. The business doesn't inspire me.
Must you be inspired?
Yes, I like him an hour a day. If I could grub for money all day, at least at evening, I want it beautiful. I want some kids. I want a family. I want to build something that I can give myself to. Annie is in the middle of that. Now, where do I find it?
You mean... Tell me something. You mean that you'd leave the business?
Yes, on this I would.
You can't think like that.
Then help me stay here.
All right, but you can't think like that. You hear me? Because what did I work for? It's for you, Chris. The whole shooting match is for you.
I know that, Dad. Just help me stay here.
Don't think that way. You hear me?
I am thinking that way.
I don't understand you, do I?
No, you don't. I'm a pretty tough guy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Joel,
Hello, Mother.
did you take a bag from under the sink?
Yeah, put it in the pail.
Well, get it out of the pail. That's my potatoes.
I thought it was garbage.
Will you do me a favor, Joe? Don't be helpful.
I can afford another bag of potatoes.
Minnie scoured that pail in boiling water last night. It's cleaner than your teeth.
And I don't understand why after working 40 years and hiring a maid, why I have to take out the garbage.
If you would make up your mind that every bag in the kitchen is full of garbage, you wouldn't be throwing out my vegetables. Last time it was the onions.
Well, I don't like garbage in the house.
Then don't eat.
Yeah, I'm in last place again. You know, once upon a time, I used to think that I would work hard, make enough money, and hire a maid. My wife would take it easy. I have money, I have a maid, and my wife works for the maid.
It's her day off. What are you crabbing about?
Isn't Annie finished eating?
Oh, sure, she'll be right out. That wind did some job on this place. So much for that, thank God.
Sit down, take it easy.
I've got such a funny pain on the top of my head.
Can I get you an aspirin?
No more roses. So funny everything decides to happen at the same time. This month is his birthday. Annie comes. His tree blows down. Everything that happened seems to be coming back. Well, I was just down the cellar, and what do I stumble over? His baseball glove. I haven't seen it in a century.
Don't you think Annie looks well?
Fine, there's no question about it. She's a beauty. I still don't know what brought her here. Not that I'm not glad to see her,
I just thought that we'd all like to see each other again, and I wanted to see her myself.
Only thing is, I think her nose got longer. But I'll always love that girl. She's one that didn't jump into bed with somebody else soon as it
No,
happened.
what are you going on?
Never mind. Most of them didn't wait till the telegrams were opened. I'm just glad she came so you can see I'm not completely out of my mind.
Just because she isn't married doesn't mean she's been mourning Larry.
Oh, why then isn't she?
Well, it could have been a number of things.
Like what, for instance?
I don't know. Whatever it is. Can I get you an aspirin?
Well, it's not like a headache.
It's because you don't sleep much. She wears out more bedroom slippers than shoes.
I had a terrible night. I never had a night like that.
What was it, Mother? Did you dream?
More than a dream.
About Larry?
I was fast asleep and remember the way he used to fly low past the house when he was in training? Or when we used to see his face in the cockpit going by? That's the way I saw him. Only high up. Way up where the clouds are. Oh, he was so real I could reach out and touch him. And suddenly he started to fall. And crying crying to me, "Mom! Mom!" I could hear his voice like he was in the room. "Mom!" It was his voice. I knew if I could touch him, I could stop him. If I could only... I woke up. And it was so strange. The wind was like the roaring of his engine. I came out here. I must have still been half asleep. I could hear that roaring like he was going by. The tree snapped in front of me and I came awake. See, we should never have planted that tree for him. I said so in the first place. It was too soon to plant a tree for him.
Too soon.
We rushed into it. Everybody was in such a hurry to bury him. I said not to plant it yet. I told you that it was a...
Mother! The wind blew it down. What significance has that got? What are you talking about? Please don't go through it all again, will you? It's no good. It doesn't accomplish anything. I've been thinking, maybe we ought to put our minds to forgetting.
That's the third time you've said that this week.
Because it isn't right. We never took up our lives again. We're like at a railroad station waiting for a train that never comes in.
Get me an aspirin, huh?
Sure, let's break out of this, eh, Mom? I thought the four of us might go out to dinner a few nights. Maybe go dancing out at the shore.
Fine. Oh, we can do it tonight.
Swell with me.
Sure, let's have some fun. You'll start by having this aspirin.
Why did he invite her here?
Why does it bother me?
She's been in New York 3.5 years. Why all of a sudden did
Well,
she
maybe
decide...
he just wanted to see her.
Nobody comes 700 miles just to see.
Well, why not? He lived next to the girl his whole life. Why would he just want to see her? Don't look at me like that. He didn't tell me any more than he told you.
He's not going to marry her.
What makes you think he's
It's
even
got
thinking
that
about it?
about it.
Well, so what?
What's going on here, Joe?
Now listen.
She's
here.
not his girl, Joe. She knows she's not.
You can't read her mind.
Oh, then why is she still single? New York is full of men. Why isn't she married? Probably 100 people told her she's foolish, but she waited.
How do you know why she's waiting?
She knows what I know, that's why. She's faithful as a rock. In my worst moments, I think of her waiting, and I know again that I'm right.
Look, it's a nice day. What are we arguing for?
Nobody in this house dashed her faith away, Joe. Strangers might, but not his father, not his brother.
What do you want? What do you want me to do?
I want you to act like he's coming back. Both of you. Don't think I haven't noticed you since Chris invited her here. I won't stand for any nonsense.
But Kate...
Because if he's not coming back, then I'll kill myself.
Huh.
Laugh at me. Laugh. But why did that happen the very night she came back? Laugh, but there are meanings in such things, Joe. She goes to sleep in his room, and his memorial breaks to pieces. Look at it, Joe, look!
Calm yourself.
Leave with me, Joe. I can't stand all alone.
Calm yourself.
Only last week a man turned up missing in Detroit, missing even longer than Larry. You read it yourself.
All right. All right. Calm yourself.
You, above all, have got to believe.
Why me above all?
Just don't stop believing.
What does that mean, me above all?
Mr. Keller said, Mr. Keller, Tommy said it again.
So, what? Who?
The dirty word.
Oh, well, just...
Gee, aren't you gonna arrest him? I warned him.
Go home. There's no jail here.
Hey.
There's no jail here. I want you to stop that jail business.
He's right across the street.
Go home, Bert! I want you to stop that, Joe, that whole jail business.
Look at you. Look at you shaking.
I can't help it.
What have I got to hide? What the hell is the matter?
I didn't say you had anything to hide. I just told you to stop it. Now stop it.
Hi, Joe.
Take a breath of that air, kid. Have don't get air like that in New York.
Annie, where did you get that dress?
I couldn't resist. I'm taking it off right before I ruin it. How's that for 3 weeks' salary?
Oh, isn't she the most? Oh, it's gorgeous. Simply
No
gorgeous.
kidding, isn't she the prettiest gal you ever saw?
You gained a little weight, didn't you, darling?
It comes and goes.
Look how nice her legs turned out.
Boy, the poplars got thick, didn't they?
Well, it's been 3 years, kid. We're getting old.
How does Mom like New York?
Why'd they take our hammock away?
No, it broke a couple years ago.
What broke? He had one of his light lunches and flopped into it.
How do you do? She looks very intelligent.
And this is Jim, Dr. Banks.
I'm sure he writes a lot about you.
Oh, don't believe it. He likes everybody. Back in the battalion, they used to call him Mother McCullough.
I can believe it. You know, it's so strange seeing him come out of that car. I guess I never grew up. It's almost like Mom and Pop are in there now, and you and Larry doing algebra, and my brother trying to copy my homework. Gosh, those dear dead days beyond recall.
Well, I hope that doesn't mean you want me to move out.
Jim, could you come in here for a moment, dear?
Uh.
Mr. Hubbard's on the phone.
I told you, I don't want...
Please, dear. Please.
All right, Susie. All right. I've only met you, Anne, but if I may give you some advice, when you marry, never, even in your mind, count your husband's money.
Jim!
At once! At once!
I told him to take up the guitar. It'd be a common interest for them. Well, she loves the guitar.
Let's eat at the shore tonight. Raise some hell like we used to before Larry went.
Oh, you think of him. You see, she thinks of him.
What do you mean, Kate?
Oh, nothing, just that you remember him. He's in your thoughts.
Well, that's a funny thing to say. How could I help remembering him?
Did you hang up your things?
Yeah. Say, you sure going into the clothes. I could hardly find room in the closet.
Oh, no, dear, don't you remember? That's Larry's room.
You mean they're Larry's?
Didn't you recognize them?
Well, it never occurred to me that I mean, the shoes are all shined.
Yes, dear. Oh, for so long I've been aching for a nice conversation with you, Annie. Tell me something.
What?
I don't know. Something nice.
She means, do you get out much?
Oh, shut up.
Are any of them serious?
Why don't you both choke?
You can't go into a restaurant with this woman. She'll have 39 strangers surrounding the table telling her their whole life story.
If I can't ask Annie a personal question, then I might as
Well, you
well.
can ask her, but don't beat her over the head. You're beating her. You're beating her.
Don't let them bulldoze you. Ask me anything you like. What do you want to know, Kate? Come on, let's gossip.
She's the only one who's got any sense. Your mother. She's not getting a divorce. Hmm?
No, she's calmed down about it now. I think when he gets out, they'll probably live together. In New York, of course.
Oh, well, that's fine, because your father is still... I mean, he's a decent man after all is said and done.
I don't care. She can do whatever she likes.
And you go out much.
You mean, am I waiting for him?
Oh, well, no, I don't expect you to wait for him. I just...
But that's what you mean, isn't it?
Well, yes.
Well, I'm not, Kate.
You're not.
Isn't it ridiculous? You don't really
I
imagine.
know, dear, but don't say it's ridiculous because the papers were full of it. Well, I don't know about New York, but there was half a page about a man missing even longer than Larry, and he turned up from Burma.
Couldn't have wanted to come home very badly, Mom.
Don't be so smart.
You can have a hell of a time in Burma.
So I've heard.
Mother, I bet money you're the only woman who after 3 years still
You're
believes-
sure?
Yes, I am.
Well, if you're sure, then you're sure. You know, they don't say it on the radio, but I'm sure that in the dark at night, they're still waiting for their sons.
Mother, you're absolutely...
Don't be so damn smart! Now stop it! There are just a few things you don't know. All of you. And I'll tell you one of them, Anne. Deep in your heart, you've always waited for him.
No, Kate.
But deep in your heart, Anne,
She ought to know, shouldn't she?
don't let them tell you what to think. Listen to your heart. Only your heart.
But why does your heart tell you he's alive?
Because he has to be.
But why, Kate?
Because certain things have to be and certain things can never be. Like the sun has to rise, it has has to be. That's why there's God. Otherwise, anything can happen. But there's God, so certain things can never happen. I would know Anne, just like I knew the day he went into that terrible battle. Did he write me? Was it in the papers? No. But that morning, I couldn't lift my head off the pillow. Ask Joe. Suddenly I knew. I knew. And he was nearly killed that day, and you know I'm right.
No, Kate.
I have to have some tea.
Annie! Gee whiz!
Frank, you're losing your hair.
Gee
Got
whiz.
responsibility. Without Frank, the stars wouldn't know when to come out.
You look more womanly. You've matured. You.
Hey, take it easy, Frank. You're a married man.
You still have dashing.
Why not? Maybe I too can get to be president. How's your brother? Got his degree, I hear.
No, George has his own office now.
Don't say. And your dad? Is he,
Fine. I'll be in to see Lydia.
How about it? Does Dad expect a parole soon?
I don't know.
I mean, because, you know, I feel that if they put a man as intelligent as your father in prison, there ought to be a law that says you execute him or let him go after a year.
You want to hand me that ladder, Frank?
I'll finish the horoscope tonight, Kate. I'll see you later, and you look wonderful.
Do they still talk about Dad?
Nobody talks about him anymore.
Gone and forgotten, kid.
Tell me, because I don't want to meet you on the block.
I want you to worry about
What about the case, Joe? Do they still talk about you?
The only one still talks about it is my wife.
That's because you keep on playing policeman with the kids. All their parents hear out of you is jail, jail, jail.
Actually, what happened is, when I got out of the penitentiary, the kids got interested in me. You know kids. And as time went on, they got it confused, and I became a detective.
Except that they didn't get it confused. He hands out police badges from the Post Toasties boxes.
It's so good to hear you laughing about it.
Why? What'd you expect?
Well, the last thing I remember on this block is one word: murderers. Remember that, Kate? Miss Hagen standing in front of our house yelling that word? She's still around, I suppose.
They're all still around.
Oh, don't listen to her. Every Saturday night, the whole gang is in my arbor playing poker. The ones yelling murderers are taking my money now.
Don't, Joe. She's a sensitive girl. Don't fool her. They still remember about Dad. It's different with him. He was exonerated. Your father's still there. Honestly, that's why I wasn't so enthusiastic about your coming. I know how sensitive you are, and I told Chris. I
Listen.
said that you wouldn't-
You do like I did, and you'll be all right. The day I come home, I got out of the car, but not in front of the house, on the corner. I wish you could have been here that day, Annie. You'd have seen something. And you too, Chris. Picture it now. Everybody knew I was getting out that day. No one believed I was innocent. The porches were loaded. So I got out of my car and I walked down the street with a smile. The beast. I was the beast. The guy who sold cracked cylinder heads to the Army Air Force. The guy who made 21 P-40s go down in Australia. The kid walking down the street that day, I was guilty as hell. Except I wasn't. And I had the court papers in my pocket to prove I wasn't. The result? 14 months later, I'm one of the best businesses in town again. Respected man again. Bigger than ever.
Show my guts.
The only way you lick 'em is guts. You did a terrible thing by moving away from here, Annie. You made it harder on your father when he gets out. You know, I'd like to see him right back here on this block.
How could they move back?
It ain't gonna end till they move back. So people play cards with him again, and smile with him, and laugh with him. You play cards with a man, you know he can't be a murderer. And the next time you ride him, I'd like you to tell him just that.
Don't you hold anything against him?
Annie, I never believed in crucifying people.
Well, he was your partner. He dragged you through the mud.
Well, he ain't my sweetheart. You gotta forgive, don't you?
You either, Kate? Don't you feel any...
Listen, the next time you ride him, I just want you to tell
I
him
don't
that.
write him.
But every now and then,
No, I've never written to him. Neither has my brother. Say, do you feel this way too?
He murdered 21 pilots.
what the hell kind of talk is that?
That's not a thing to say about a man.
What else can you say?
When they took him away, I followed him. I went to every visiting day. I was crying all the time. Until the news came out about Larry, and then I realized it's wrong to pity a man like that. Father or no father, there's only one way to look at him. He knowingly shipped out parts that would crash an airplane. And how do you know Larry wasn't one of them?
I was waiting for that. As long as you're here, Anne, I want to ask you to never say that again.
I'm surprised. I thought you'd be mad at him.
What your father did had nothing to do with Larry. Nothing.
But we can't know that.
As long as you're here,
But Kate-
put that out of your head.
Because
That's all, that's enough. Come inside now and have some tea with me.
Annie, it's just that
He's not dead, so there's no argument. Now come!
in a minute. Annie, it's
All right, Dad. Forget it.
no. She doesn't feel this way.
I'm sick of the whole subject. Now cut it out.
You know Larry never flew a P-40. Those cylinder heads went to P-40s only. What's the matter with you?
Oh, so who flew those P-40s? Pigs?
The man was a fool, but don't make a murderer out of him. You got no sense. Look what it does to him. You have to understand what was happening in the shops in the war. It was a madhouse. Every half hour, the major was calling for cylinder heads. They were whipping us with the telephone. Every now and then a batch comes out with a crack. Fine hairline crack. That happens. That's business. And so your father, being a little man, afraid of loud voices and all. What'll the major say? Half a day's production shot. What'll I say? You know, see it human. So he takes out his tools and he patches over the cracks, and all right, that's bad, that's wrong, but that's what a little man does. If I could have gone in that day, I'd have told him, jump him, Steve, we can afford it. But alone, he was afraid. Annie, the man made a mistake, but that don't make him a murderer. You mustn't feel that way about him. You understand me?
Joe, let's forget it.
Annie, the day the news came out about Larry, he was in the cell next to mine. Dad, and he cried half the night.
You should have cried all night.
I don't understand.
Are you going to stop it?
Don't yell at him. He just wants everybody happy.
That's my sentence. You stand steak.
And champagne.
Now we're operating. I'll call Swanson's for a tape. Big time tonight, Annie.
Can't scare me.
I like this girl. Wrap her up. You got nice legs, Annie. Look at him, he's blushing.
Drink your tea, Casanova. Isn't he a great guy?
You're the only one I know who loves his parents.
I know. Went on a style, didn't it?
No, it's all right. It's a good thing. You know, it's lovely here. The air is sweet.
You're not sorry you came?
Not sorry, no, but I'm not going to stay.
Why?
Well, in the first place, your mother as much as told me to go.
Well,
Well,
you know.
you saw that, and you've been kind of,
What?
well, kind of embarrassed ever since I got here.
Well, the trouble is, I kind of plan on sneaking up on you over the period of a week or so, but they take it for granted that we're all set.
I knew they would. Your mother, anyway.
How did you know?
Well, from her point of view, why else would I come?
Well, wouldn't you want to? I guess this is why I asked you to come.
I guess this is why I came.
Annie, I love you. I love you a great deal. I love you. I have no imagination. That's all I know to tell you. Man, I'm embarrassing you, aren't I didn't want to tell it to you. I want someplace we've never been, a place where we'd be brand new to each other, you know? You feel it's wrong here, don't you? This yard, this chair, I don't want to win you away from anything. I just want you to be ready for me.
Chris, I've been ready a long, long time.
then he's gone forever. You're sure?
I almost got married 2 years ago.
Why didn't you?
You started to write me.
You felt something that far back?
And every day since.
Annie, why didn't you let me know?
I was waiting for you, Chris. Till then you never wrote me, and when you did, what did you say? You sure can be ambiguous, you know.
Give me a kiss, Annie. Give me a... Oh God, I kissed you, Annie. Oh, I kissed Annie. How long I've waited to kiss you.
I'll never forgive you. Why did you wait all these years? All I've done is sit and wonder if I was crazy for thinking of you.
Annie, we're going to live now. I'm going to make you so happy.
Not like that, you're not.
I kissed you,
Like Larry's brother. Do it like you, Chris. What is it, Chris?
let's drive someplace. I want to be
No,
alone.
what is it, Chris, your mother?
No, nothing like that. It's just...
Then what's wrong? Even in your letters there was something... a shame.
Well, I guess I have it, but it's going far.
You've got to tell me.
I don't know where to start.
It wouldn't work this way.
It's just all mixed up with so many other things, that's all. I remember overseas, I was in command of a company.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I lost it.
How many?
Just about all.
Gee, Chris.
Takes a little time to toss that up. You know, because they weren't just men. For instance, one time, it had been raining for several days, and this kid came to me and gave me his last pair of dry socks, and I put them in my pocket, and that's only a little thing, but you see, that's the kind of guys I had. They didn't die. They killed themselves for each other, and I mean that exactly. A little more selfish, they'd have been here today. And I got an idea watching them go down. Everything was being destroyed, you see, but it seemed to me that one new thing was made, a kind of responsibility, man for man. You understand? To show that, to bring that here on the earth like it was some kind of monument, and everyone would feel it standing there behind him, and it would make a difference to him. And then I came home, and it was incredible, and you know, there was no meaning in it here. To them, the whole thing was a bus accident. And I went to work with Dad in that rat race again, and I felt what you said, ashamed somehow, because nobody seemed to be changed at all by it. It seemed to make suckers out of a lot of guys. And I felt wrong to be alive. You know, to open a bank book, to drive the new car, to see the new refrigerator. I mean, you can take those things out of a war, but when you drive that new car, you've got to know it came out of the love a man can have for a man. You've got to be a little better because of that. Otherwise, what you have is really loose, and there's blood on it. I didn't want to take any of it. And I guess that included you.
And you still feel this way?
I want you now, man.
Because you mustn't feel that way anymore. Because you have a right to whatever you have, Chris. Everything. You understand that? And to me, too. And the money, there's nothing wrong in your money. Your father put hundreds of planes in the air. You should be proud. A man should be paid for that.
Annie. Annie, I'm going to make a fortune for you.
Hello? Yeah, sure.
What'll I do with the fortune?
Hey, and your brother... Well, what is this, Labor Day?
All right.
You shouldn't burst out like that.
Well, nobody told me it was Labor Day. Where's the hot
All
dog?
right, you said it once.
Well, as long as I know it's Labor Day, I'll wear a bell around my neck.
He's so subtle.
Oh, George Bernard Shaw as an elephant.
George, you kissed it out of my head. And your brother's on the phone.
My brother?
Yeah, long distance.
What's the matter? Is anything wrong?
Oh, I don't know. But Kate's talking to him. You better hurry. She'll cost him $5.
Maybe we ought to tell your mother yet. I'm not very good in argument.
What are you telling her?
We will tonight. After dinner. Now, just don't be tense. Just leave it to me. Go ahead, Anne. You're getting married, Dad. Well, don't you say anything?
That's great, Chris. It's just George is calling from Columbus.
Columbus?
Did Annie tell you he was going to see his father today?
No, I don't think she knew anything about it.
Chris, you think you know her pretty good?
What kind of a question is that?
I'm just wondering. George don't go see his father all these years, and the day he does, she comes here.
Well, what of it?
It's crazy, but it comes to my mind. She don't hold nothing against me, does she?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just talking. To his last day in court, the band never took blame. This is his daughter. I don't know. If she was sitting here to find out something,
Why? What is there to find out?
Why are you so excited, George? What happened there?
I mean, if they want to reopen the case for the nuisance value to hurt us,
Dad,
Well, what did he
How
tell
could you
for
think
God's
that of her?
sake?
it couldn't be, huh? You know?
Dad, you amaze me.
All right, forget it. Forget it. I want a clean start for you, Chris. I want to put a new sign over the plant. Christopher Keller Incorporated.
J.O. Keller is enough.
We'll talk about it. I want to build a house for you. Stone, with a driveway from the road. I want you to use the money that I made for you. Without shame, Chris. With joy. No shame.
I will, Dad.
Say it to me.
Why?
Because sometimes I think you're ashamed of the money.
No.
There's nothing wrong with that money. It's good money.
Dad, you don't have to tell me this.
Look, I'll go work on Mother for you. We'll get her so drunk tonight that everybody will be getting married. There's gonna be a wedding, kid. Champagne, tuxedos.
Simply because when you get excited, you don't control yourself. Well, what happened there, for God's sake? All right, calm down. That's still all you. Everybody's running away from you. Try to get a hold of yourself, will you? All right, goodbye.
Something happened?
You coming here?
On the 7 o'clock, he's in Columbus. I told him it would be all right.
Yeah, sure. Did your father take sick?
No, George didn't say he was sick. I don't know. I suppose it's something stupid. You know my brother. Let's go for a drive or something?
Sure, give me the keys, Dad.
We'll drive through the park. It's beautiful now.
Come on, Anne. I'll be back right away.
See you.
Take your time. What did George want?
He's been in Columbus since this morning with Steve. He's got to see Anne right away, he says.
What for?
I don't know. He's a lawyer now, Joe. George is a lawyer. All these years, and he never even sent a postcard to Steve. Since the war, not a postcard.
So?
Well, suddenly he takes an airplane from New York to see him. An airplane.
So what?
Why?
I don't read minds, do you?
Why, Joe? What has Steve got to tell him that is so important he suddenly takes an airplane to see him?
What do I care what Steve has to tell him?
You're sure, Joe?
Yes, I'm sure.
Be smart now, Joe. The boy is coming. Be smart.
Once and for all, I said I'm sure. So I'm sure.
All right, Joe. Just be smart. put on your good pants to do that. You notice there's more light with that thing on.
Why aren't you dressed?
It's suffocating upstairs. I made a great drink for Georgie. Come and try some.
Well, come on, get dressed. What's Dad sleeping so much for?
Oh, he's worried. When he's worried, he sleeps. We're dumb, Chris. Dad and I are stupid people. We don't know anything. You've got to protect us.
Oh, you're silly. What's there to be afraid of?
To his last day in court, Steve never gave up the idea that Dad made him do it. They're going to open the case again. I won't live through it.
George is just a damn fool, Mother. How can you take him serious?
That family hates us, Chris. Maybe even Ann.
Now, Mother.
You think just because you like everyone, they like you.
Okay, stop working yourself up now. Just leave everything to me, okay?
When George goes home, tell her to go with him.
Don't worry about Annie.
Steve is her father, too.
Are you going to stop it? Now come.
You don't realize how much people can hate Chris. If you hate so much, they'll tear the world to pieces.
Look, she's dressed already. I just need to put on a shirt.
Are you feeling well, Kate?
What's the difference, dear? There are certain people, you know, the sicker they get, the longer they live.
We're going to tell her tonight.
Absolutely. Don't worry about it.
I wish we could tell her now. I can't stand scheming. My stomach gets hard.
It's not scheming. We'll just get her in a better mood. That's all.
The only one who's relaxed is your father.
Hey, I'm relaxed.
Are you?
What? Let me know when George gets here.
It's my husband.
Oh,
I'm terribly sorry.
yeah, that's all right. I'm a little silly about the dark.
It is getting dark.
Are you looking for your husband?
As usual. He spends so much time here, they'll be charging him rent.
Nobody was home, so we drove over to the depot to pick up my brother.
Oh, your brother's in?
Yeah, they'll be back in a minute now. Would you have a cold drink?
I will, thanks. My husband. Too hot to drive beeping station. Men are like little boys. For the neighbor, they'll always cut the grass.
People like to do things for the Kellers. It's been that way since I can remember.
It's amazing. I guess your brother's coming to give you away, huh?
I don't know. I suppose.
You must be all nerved up.
It's always a problem getting yourself married, isn't it?
That depends on your shape, of course. I don't see why you should have a problem.
I've had chances.
Oh, I'll bet. It's romantic. It's unusual to me, though, marrying the brother of your sweetheart.
I don't know. I think it's mostly that whenever I need somebody to tell me the truth, I've always thought about Chris. When he tells you something, you just know it's so.
And he's got money. That's important, you know.
It wouldn't matter to me.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It makes all the difference. I made an intern on my salary, and that was bad because as soon as a woman supports a man, he owes her something. And you can never owe somebody without resentment.
Underneath, I think the doctor's very devoted.
Oh, certainly, but it's bad when a man always sees the bars in front of him. Jim thinks he's in jail all the time.
Oh,
That's why I've been intending to ask you a small favor, Annie. It's something very important to me.
certainly if I can do it.
You can. When you take up housekeeping, try to find a place away from here.
Are you fooling?
I'm very serious. My husband isn't happy with Chris around.
How was that?
Jim's a successful doctor, but he has this idea he'd like to do medical research. Discover things, you see.
Isn't that a good thing?
Research pays $25 a week. Mine is laundering a hair shirt. You've got to give your whole life to go into that.
How does Chris?
Chris makes people want to be better than is possible. He does that to people, you know.
Is that bad?
My husband has a family, dear, and every time he has one of his sessions with Chris, he feels as though he's compromising by not giving up everything to go into research. As if Chris or everyone else is compromising. Happens every couple of years with Jim. He meets a man and makes a statue out of him.
Maybe he's right. I'm not saying Chris is a statue,
Now,
but
darling, we both know he's not right.
I don't agree with you, Chris.
Let's face it, Chris is working with his father, isn't he? He's taking money out of that company every week of the year.
What of it?
You asked me what of it.
I certainly do ask you. You shouldn't cast aspersions on people like that. I'm surprised at you.
You're surprised at me.
He wouldn't take 5 cents out of that plant if there's anything wrong in it.
You know that?
I know it. I resent everything you've said.
You know what I resent, dear?
Please, I don't want to argue.
I resent living next door to the Holy family. It makes me look like a bum, you understand?
I can't do anything about
And
that.
who is he to ruin a man's life? Everybody knows that Joe will fast when he get out of jail.
That's not true.
You might as well talk to him. Go ahead, talk to him. There ain't a person on this block that don't know you.
That's a lie. People come here all the time for cars.
So
and-
what? They give him credit for being smart. I do too. I've got nothing against Joe. But if Chris wants people to put on the broadcloth, let him take off his hair shirt. He's driving my husband crazy with that phony idealism of his. I'm at the end of my rope lines. Oh, hello, darling. How's Mother?
Thought George came.
Oh, no, it's just us.
Susie, do me a favor, eh? Go to Mother and see if you can calm her down. She's all worked up.
Oh, she still don't know about you, sir?
Well, she senses it, I guess. You know my mother.
Oh, yeah, she's psychic.
Maybe there's something in the medicine chest.
I'll give her one of everything. And don't worry about Kate. A couple of drinks, dance her around. She'll love him. That's because you're the female version of him. And don't be alarmed, I said version.
Interesting woman, isn't she?
Yeah, very interesting.
She's a great nurse. You know she...
Are you still doing that?
Doing what?
As soon as you get to know somebody, you find a distinction for them. How do you know she's a great nurse?
What's the matter, Annie?
The woman hates you. She despises you.
Hey, what's he?
Gee, Chris.
What happened here?
You never... Why didn't you tell me?
Tell you what?
She says they think Joe is guilty.
What difference does it make what they think?
I don't care what they think. I just don't understand why you took the trouble to deny it. You said it was all forgotten.
I just didn't want you to think that there's anything wrong with you coming here, kid, that's all. A lot of people still think my father's guilty, and I assume there might be some question in your mind.
I never once said I suspected him.
Nobody says it.
Chris, I know how much you love him, but it could never.
Do you think I could forgive him if he had done that thing?
I'm not here out of the blue sky, Chris. I turned my back on my father. If there's anything wrong
I
here
know
now,
that,
then
man.
George is coming from Dad, and I don't think it's with the blessing.
He's welcome here. You got nothing to fear from George.
Tell me that. Just tell me that.
The man is innocent, man. Remember, he was falsely accused once and it put him through hell. How would you behave if you were faced with the same thing again? Believe me, there's nothing wrong for you here, Annie. Believe me, please.
All right, Chris. All right.
Every time I come out here, it looks like Playland.
I thought you were going to shave.
Oh, give me a minute. I just woke up. Can't see nothing.
You look shaved.
Oh, no. Gotta be extra special tonight, Annie. Big time tonight. How do you feel being a married woman?
Oh, I don't know yet.
What's the matter? You slipping?
Ah, the great rouet.
What's that, Rouget?
It's French.
Don't talk dirty.
Have you ever met a bigger ignoramus?
Somebody's got to make a living around here.
That's telling him.
Annie, I've been thinking about your brother, George. When he comes, I'd like you to brooch something to him.
Brooch.
What's wrong with brooch?
It's not English.
In high school, it was brooch.
Well, in day school, it's brooch.
Don't surround me, will you? Seriously, Ann. I've been thinking. Why should he knock himself out with that cutthroat competition in New York when I'm very friendly with a few lawyers in town? I could set George up here.
That's awfully nice of you, Joe.
No, it ain't nice of me, kid. I want you to understand. You see, as you get older, you want to feel like you accomplished something. Well, my only accomplishment is Chris. That's all I've accomplished. I ain't bragging. Now, a year, 18 months, your father be getting out, and who's he gonna come home to? You, his baby. He'll come, old, mad, and into your house.
That can't matter anymore, Joe.
I just don't want that hate to come between us.
All I can tell you is that that could never happen.
You're in love now, Annie, but I'm older and I know. A daughter is a daughter and a father is a father. And it could happen. That's why I'd like you and George to go to him and say, Dad, When you get out, Joe would like to bring you into the business.
You'd have him as partner?
No, no partner. A good job. I want him to know, Annie. I want him to know while he's sitting there that he's got a place with me. It'll take his bitterness away. To know you have a place, it sweetens you.
Joe, you owe him nothing.
I owe him a good kick in the teeth, but he's your father.
Then kick him in the teeth. I didn't want him working in the plant, so that's that. You understand? And by the way, don't talk about him like that. People misunderstand.
I just don't understand why she has to crucify me.
Well, it's her father, and if she feels
No,
like
no,
crucifying,
what if it was your father?
what's it to you?
A father is a father! I better go shave. Sorry for yelling at you.
Let's forget the whole thing, Joe.
Right. She's like,
Oh, shave, boo.
I forgot all about it. Hiya, I promised to fix Kate's hair for tonight. Did she come yet?
always a smile, eh, Lydia?
Sure, why not?
Come on up and call me Katie's hair. Big time tonight. I want her to look extra beautiful.
I'll make her look beautiful.
And that could be a song. Come on up, call me Katie's hair. Come on up, she's my lady fair. How's that for 1 year at night school? Come on up, call me Katie's hair.
What's the matter? Where is he?
Where's your mother?
Upstairs dressing.
What happened? Where's George?
Actually, the way in the car. Listen to me now. Can you take some advice? Don't bring him in here.
Why?
Kate is in bad shape. You can't explode this in front of her.
Explode what?
You know why he's here. Don't try to kid it away. There's blood in his eye. Drive him someplace and talk to him alone.
Don't be an old lady.
He's come to take her home. What does that mean? You know what that means. Fight it out with him someplace else.
I'll drive him somewhere.
Will you stop being such an idiot?
Nobody's afraid of him here. Now cut that out. Well, hell of a way to do, George. What are you sitting out there for?
Doc said your mother isn't well.
So what? She wanted to see you, wouldn't she? Come on, we've been waiting for you all afternoon.
This is filthy. Didn't you bring another shirt?
How about the beach, Jim?
It's too hot to drive.
How's your sensation? Zeppelin?
George, this is Miss Bayless. George. Miss Bayless.
How do you do?
You're the people who bought our house, aren't you?
That's right. Come by and see it. I'm sure you'd love with them the place.
I like it the way it was.
He's very frank, isn't he?
Take it easy. See you later, fella.
Thanks for driving him. I bought some grape juice, George. Mother made it especially for you.
Good old Kate. Remember my grape juice?
Sure, you drank enough of it in this house. Come on, George, have a seat. How you been?
It takes me a minute. It almost seems impossible.
What?
Back here.
Say, you've gotten a little nervous, haven't you?
Yep. Toward the end of the day. What are you? Big executive now?
Just kind of me. How's the law?
I don't know. When I was studying in a hospital, it seemed sensible, but outside there doesn't seem to be much of a law. The trees got thick, didn't they? What's that?
We had it there for Larry. Blew down last night. You remember?
Why? Afraid you'll forget them?
What kind of remark is that?
When did you start wearing a hat?
Oh, today. See, from now on, I decided to look more like a lawyer, anyway. Don't you recognize him?
Why? Where?
Your father's. He asked me to wear it.
How is he?
He got smaller.
Smaller?
Yeah, little. He's a little man. You know, I guess that's what happens to suckers. It's a good thing I went to him in time. In about another year, there'd be nothing left but his smell.
What's the matter, George? What's the trouble?
Trouble. The trouble is when you make suckers out of people once, you shouldn't try and do it twice.
What does that mean?
You're not married yet, are you?
George, will you sit down and stop?
Are you married yet?
No, I'm not married yet.
You are not going to marry him.
And why am I not going to marry
Because his father destroyed your family.
Now look, George.
Cut it short, Chris.
Ooh.
Tell her to come home with me. Let's not argue. You know what I've got to say.
George, you don't want to be the voice of God, do you? That's been your trouble all your life. You know that? You rush into things. What kind of statement is that to make? You're a big boy now.
I'm a big boy now.
So don't come bullying in here. If you've got something to say, you be civilized.
Don't civilize me!
We're gonna talk like a grown man, or aren't you?
Sit down, dear. Don't be angry. What's the matter? No, what happened? You kissed me before you left. Now you...
My life's turned upside down since then. I couldn't go back to work after you left. I wanted to go right to Dad and tell him you were going to be married. It seemed impossible not to tell him. He loved you so much. Annie, we've done a terrible thing. We can never be forgiven. Not to even send him a postcard at Christmas. I didn't see him not once since I got home from the war. Annie, you don't know what was done to that man. You don't know what happened.
Of course I know.
You can't know. You wouldn't be here. Dad went to work that night. The night foreman came to him and showed him the cylinder heads. They were coming out of the process with defects. There was something wrong with the process. So Dad went directly to the phone and called here and told Joe to come down right away. For the morning pads. No sign of Joe. So Dad called again. By this time, he had over 100 defectives. The army was screaming for stuff, and Dad didn't have anything to ship. So, on the phone, Joe told him. He told him to weld, to cover up any cracks that he could, and ship them out.
Are you through now?
I'm not through now! Dad was afraid. He wanted Joe to be there if he was going to do it. Joe can't come down. He's sick. Sick! He suddenly gets the flu. Suddenly. But he promised to take responsibility. Do you understand what I'm saying? On the telephone, you can't have responsibility! In a courtroom, you can always deny a phone call, and that's exactly what he did. They knew he was a liar the first time, but in the appeal, they believed that rotten lie, and now Joe is the big shot, and your father's the patsy. So, what are you going to do? Eat his food? Sleep in his bed? Answer me. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do, George?
He's too smart for me. I can't prove a phone call.
Then how dare you come in here with that rot?
George, the court.
The court didn't know your father. But you know. You know in your heart Joe did it.
You better lower your voice or I'll throw you out of here.
She knows. She knows.
Get him out of here, Annie. Get him out of here.
George, I know everything you've said. Dad told the whole thing in
The
court.
court! The court did not know him, and
George, you know how quick he can lie.
I'll ask you something. And you look me in the eye, straight in the eye, and you answer me.
I'll look you in the eye.
You know your father.
I know him well.
And he's the kind of boss, and that he would let 121 cylinder heads be repaired and shipped out of his shop without him even knowing about it.
He's that kind of boss.
And that's the same Joe Keller who would never leave his shop without first going through and making sure all the lights are turned off first.
The same Joe Keller.
The same man who knows how many minutes a day his workers spend on the toilet?
The same man.
And my father, that frightened mouse who would never so much as buy a shirt without somebody along. He wouldn't dare do such a thing on his own.
On his own. And because he's a frightened mouse, this is another thing you do. Throw the blame on someone else because he's not man enough to take it himself. He tried it once in court, but it didn't work. But with a fool like you, oh, it works.
Ah, Chris. You're a liar to yourself.
Don't talk like that.
Tell me, George, what happened? The court record was good enough for you all these years. Why isn't it good now? Why did you believe it?
Because you believed it. That's the honest truth, Chris. I believed it for so long because I thought you knew. But this morning, I heard it from his mouth. From his mouth, it's altogether different than the record. And anyone who knows him and knows your father will believe it from his mouth. Your dad took everything we have. I can't beat that. She is the one item he is not going to grab. Get your things. Everything they have is covered in blood. You're not the kind of girl who live with that. Get your things.
And you're not going to believe that, are you?
You know it's not true, don't you?
How can he tell you? It's his father. None of these things ever even crossed your mind.
Yes, they've crossed my mind. Anything can cross your mind.
He knows, Annie. He knows!
Oh, the voice of God!
Oh, then why isn't your name on the business? Explain that to
What
me.
does that have to do with any of it?
Annie, why isn't his name on it?
Even when I don't own it.
Oh! Who are you kidding? Who gets it when he dies? Open your eyes. Isn't that the first thing they would do the way they love each other? J. O'Keller and son. I'll settle it. Do you want to settle it, or are you afraid to?
What do you mean?
Let me go upstairs and talk to your father. And in 10 minutes, you'll have the answer. Or are you afraid of the answer?
I'm not afraid of the answer. I know the answer. But my mother isn't well, and you're not going to start a fight here now.
Let me go to him.
You're not going to start a fight here now.
What more do you want?
Someone's coming.
I won't say anything now.
You'll go soon. I'll call a cab.
You're coming with me.
And don't mention marriage. We haven't told her yet.
You're coming with
You
me.
understand, George? Don't. I'm not going to start anything now. Shh.
Georgie? Georgie! Oh,
Hello.
they made an old man out of you. Look, you're gray.
I know.
I told you when you went away, don't try for medals.
I didn't try, Kate. They made it very easy.
Go on, you're all alike. Look at him. Why did you say he looks fine? He looks like a ghost.
I feel all right.
I'm sick to look at you. What's wrong with your mother? Why don't she feed you?
He just hasn't any appetite.
He ate in my house, he'd have an appetite. Sit down, I'll make you a sandwich.
I'm really not hungry.
Honest to God, it breaks my heart how all you kids turned out. How we worked and planned for you and you end up no better than us.
You haven't changed one bit. You know that, Kate.
None of us changed, George. You know I love you. Why, Joe was just talking about the day you were born and the water got shut off. People were carrying basins from a block away. A stranger would have thought the whole neighborhood was on fire. Why didn't you give him some juice?
I offered it to him.
Offered it to him. Give it to him. Now you're gonna sit here and drink some juice and look like something.
Kate, I feel hungry already.
She can turn Mahatma Gandhi into heavyweights.
Listen, to hell with the restaurant. I've got a ham in the icebox and frozen strawberries and avocados.
Stella, I'll help you.
The train leaves at 8:30, man.
Oh, you're leaving.
Oh, no, she's not going to be leaving.
George, you hardly got here. Give yourself a chance to get acquainted again.
Sure, we don't even know you anymore.
Oh, well, if they can't stay, don't
No,
force
Mother,
it.
it's just a question of George. Mother,
Now,
is
wait a
George
minute,
here?
Chris.
If you're wanting to go now, I'll drive you to the station. But if you're gonna stay, no arguments while you're here.
Why should he argue? Georgie and I have no argument. How could we have an argument, Georgie? Oh, we all got hit by the same lightning. How can you... Oh, did you see what happened to Larry's tree, Georgie? Imagine. Well, I was dreaming of him in the middle of the night. The wind
Hey,
came along.
Georgie!
Well, hello, Laugh. What'd you do, bro?
I'm a big girl now.
She can do to a hat
Did you make that?
in 10 minutes.
I only rearranged it.
You still make your own clothes.
Well, ain't she classy? All she needs now is a Russian wolfhound.
Feels like somebody's sitting on my head.
It's beautiful.
She's a genius. You should have married this one. She can feed you.
Oh, stop that, Eddie.
Didn't I hear you had a baby?
You don't hear so well. She's got 3 babies.
Well, no kidding. 3.
Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3.
I'm beginning to realize.
Trouble with you kids is you think too much.
Well, we think too.
Yes, but not all the time.
They never took Frank, eh?
Yeah, he was always 1 year ahead of the draft.
Oh, it's amazing. When he was 27, they were taking boys 28. When he was just 28, they made it to 29. That's why he took up astrology. It's all in when you were born. It's all in when you were born. It goes to show.
Oh, what does it go to show?
Oh, don't be so intelligent. Some superstitions are very nice. Did he finish Larry's horoscope?
I'll ask him now. I'm going in. Would you like to see my babies? Come on.
I don't think so, Lydia.
All right. Good luck to you, George.
Thank you. And to you. And Frank.
Oh, Frank!
She got pretty, huh?
Very pretty.
Oh, she's beautiful, you damned fool.
She makes this place seem so wonderful.
Look what happened to you because you wouldn't listen to me. I told you to marry that girl and stay out of the war.
She used to laugh too much.
Oh, but you didn't laugh enough. While you were getting mad about fascism, Frank was getting into her bed.
But on the war, Frank.
All the battles.
The day they started the draft, Georgie, I told you you loved that girl.
And true love hath no man.
I'm smarter than any of you.
She's wonderful.
And now you're going to listen to me, Georgie. You have big principles. Eagle Scouts, the 3 of you. So now I've got a tree, and this one, when the weather gets bad, can't stand on his own feet. And that big dope next door, who never reads anything but Andy Gump, has 3 kids and his house paid off. Stop being a philosopher and start looking after yourself. Like Joe was just saying, you move back here, he'll get you set up. I'll find you a girl and put a smile on your face.
Joe. Joe wants me here?
He asked me to tell you. I think it's a good idea.
Certainly. Why must you make believe you hate us? You don't hate us. I know you. You can't fool me. I diapered you. You remember Miss Marcy's daughter?
She's got you hooked already.
You look her over, George. You'll see she's the most beautiful girl.
She's
in-
got warts, George.
She hasn't got warts. So she's got a little beauty mark on her chin.
And 2 on her nose.
Her father's the retired police inspector. You remember George.
Sergeant George.
He's a very kind man.
He looks like a gorilla.
He never shot anybody.
Well, look who's here. Georgie, it's good to see you.
How are you, Joe?
So. Getting old. You come to dinner with us?
Nah. Gotta be back up in New York.
I'll call a cab.
Sad to hear you can't stay, George. Sit down. You look fine.
Oh, he looks terrible.
That's what I said, George. You look terrible. I wear the pants and she beats me with the belt.
I saw your place on the way from the train station. It looks like General Motors.
I wish it was General Motors. So you went and saw Dad today, huh?
Yes, this morning. So what kind of stuff do you make now?
Pressure cookers, assembly for washing machines. You got a nice flexible plant now. So how'd you find Dad? Did he take sick? Well,
No. He's not well, Joe.
Not his heart again, is it?
It's everything, Joe. It's his soul.
Huh.
How about seeing what they did with your house?
I'll leave him be.
I'd like to talk to him.
That's what they do, George. The little man makes a mistake and they want to hang him by the thumbs. The big ones become ambassadors. I'd like you to tell him that anytime he wants, he's got a place with me.
He hates your guts, Joe. Don't you know that?
Well, I imagined it, but that can change too.
Steve was never like that.
He's like that now. He'd like to take any man that made money during the war and put him up against the wall,
Ain't a lot of bullets.
and you better not get any.
It's a sad thing to hear.
Why? What did you expect him to think of you?
It's just sad to hear he hasn't changed. In the 25 years I've known the man, he's never been able to take blame. You know that, George.
Well,
But you do know it. Because the way you walk in here, you act like you don't remember it. Like that time in 1937 when he damn near blew us all up when he ran that heater for 3 days without any water in it. He didn't take blame for that either. Had to fire a mechanic just to save his face.
yeah,
I'm just mentioning it, George. Like, it's just another one of a lot of things. Like when he gave Frank that money to invest in oil stock.
I know that.
I mean, the way he cursed Frank. Was it Frank's fault? To listen to him, Frank was a swindler and the man just gave him a bad tip.
I know those things.
Then remember them. Remember them. There are certain men in the world who'd rather see everybody else hang before they take blame. You understand me, George?
The cab's on its way. Would you like to wash?
Why must you go? Make the midnight, George.
Sure, you'll have dinner with us.
How about it? Why not? We're gonna get delayed. We could have a swell time.
All right.
Now you're talking.
I'll get you a shirt, George.
Size 15 and a half, right, George?
Is Lydia... Are Frank and Lydia coming?
Oh, I'll get you a date that'll make her
No,
look
no.
good.
I don't want a date.
I know just the girl for you, George. Charlotte Tanner.
Call Charlotte, that's right.
Oh, sure, call her up.
Go up and pick out a shirt and tie.
You know, I've never felt at home anywhere but here. It all feels so... Kate, you look so young, you know? It rings an old bell. You too, Joe. You're amazingly the same. The whole atmosphere is...
Well, say, I ain't got time to get sick.
He hasn't been laid up in 15 years.
Except for my flu during the war.
Huh?
When I was sick during the war,
Well, sure. I mean, except for that flu. Well, don't look at me that way. It slipped my mind. Oh, he wanted to go to the shop, but he couldn't lift himself off the bed. I thought he had pneumonia.
Why did she say that you...
I know how you feel, kid. If I could have gone in that day, I'd have told Dad to never touch them heads.
She said you'd never been sick.
I said he was sick, George.
And you heard her, right? She said you'd never
Do
been
you
sick.
remember every time you were sick?
I remember pneumonia! Especially if it was on the same day my partner was going to patch up cylinder heads. What happened that day, Joe? Kate! Kate!
Frank! Oh, did you see George?
Lydia told me. But you'll have to excuse me. I've got something amazing for you, Kate. I finished Larry's horoscope.
Oh, you'd be interested in this, George. It's amazing the way he can understand the
George,
stars.
the girl's on the phone.
He finished Larry's horoscope.
Frank, can't you pick a better time than this?
The greatest man who ever lived believed in the stars.
Stop filling your head with that junk.
Is it junk to feel that there's a greater power than ourselves? I've studied the stars of his life. I won't argue with you. I'm telling you, somewhere in this world, your brother is alive.
Why isn't it possible?
Because it's insane.
Just a minute now. I'm going to tell you something, and you can do as you please. Just let me say it. He was supposed to have died on November 25th, but November 25th was his favorable day.
Mother.
Listen to him.
It was a day when everything fortunate was shining upon him. The kind of day he should have married on. You can laugh at a lot of it. I can understand you laughing. But the odds are 1,000,000 to 1 that a man won't die on his favorable day. That's known. That's known, Chris.
Why isn't it possible? Why isn't it possible, Chris?
Don't you understand what she's saying? She just told you to go. What are you waiting for now?
Nobody can tell her to go.
Thank you, darling, for your trouble. Will you tell him to wait, Frank?
Sure thing.
He'll be right out, driver.
She's not leaving, Mother.
You heard her say it. He's never been sick.
He misunderstood me,
He
Chris.
simply told your father to kill pilots while he covered himself in bed.
You better answer him, Annie. Answer him.
I packed your bag, darling.
What?
I packed your bag. All you've got to do is close it.
I'm not closing anything. He asked me here and I'm staying till he tells me to go. Till Chris tells me.
That's all. Now get out of here, George.
But if that's how he
That's
feels,
all.
you should...
Nothing more. Not till Christ comes about the case or Larry. As long as I'm here, you understand? Now get out of here, George.
You tell me. I want to hear you tell me.
Go, George. Georgie, don't take it that
You
way.
packed her bag? What do you mean you packed her bag?
Chris,
How dare you pack her bag?
she doesn't belong here.
Then I don't belong here.
She's Larry's girl.
And I'm his brother. And he's dead. And I'm marrying his girl.
Never. Never in this world.
Have you lost your mind?
You have nothing to say.
I've got plenty to say. For 3.5 years, you've been talking like a maniac.
Nothing. You have nothing to say. Now I say he's coming back. And everybody has got to wait.
Mother. Mother.
Wait. Wait.
How long? How long?
Till he comes. Forever and ever until he comes.
Mother, I am going ahead with it.
Chris, I've never said no to you in my life. Now I say no.
We'll never let him go till I do it.
I'll never let him go. And you'll never let him go.
I've let him go. I've let him go a long,
Then let your
long...
father go!
She's out of her mind.
Altogether. Your brother's alive, darling, because if he's dead, then your father killed him. Do you understand me now? As long as you live, that boy is alive. God does not let a son be killed by his father. Now you see, don't you? Now you see.
She's out of her mind.
Then you did it,
He never flew a P-40.
but the others.
She's out of her mind.
Dad, you did it,
What's the matter with you?
then you did it. To the others.
What's the matter with you? What the hell is the matter with you?
How could you do that? How?
What's the matter with you?
Dad. Dad, you killed 21 men. Killed? You killed them. You murdered them.
How could I kill anybody?
Dad? Dad!
I didn't kill anybody.
Then explain it to me. What did you do? You had 120 cracked engine heads. Now what did you do? You better explain it to me or I'll tear you to pieces.
Don't, Chris.
I want to know what you did. Now tell me, what did you do?
Well, if you're gonna hang me, then I might.
I'm listening. God almighty, am I listening?
You're a boy. What could I do? I'm in business. A man is in business. 120 cracked, you're out of business. You got a process, the process don't work, you're out of business. Your stuff don't work, you don't know how to operate, they shut you down, tear up your contracts. What's it to them anyway? I laid 40 years into that business. What was I supposed to do? Let them take 40 years? Let them take my life away? I never thought they'd install them. I was going to stop them before anybody took off.
Then why didn't you ship them out?
By the time I got the process going again, I thought they'd spot them and I'd show them that they needed me. But weeks went by and I got no kickback. I was going to stop them.
So why didn't you tell them?
It was too late. The paper, it was all over the front page. 21 went down. What was I to do? They came to the shop with handcuffs. What was I supposed to do? Chris, I did it for you. I'm 61 years old. When would I get another chance to make something for you? 61 years old, you don't get another chance, do you?
You even knew they wouldn't hold up in the air.
I didn't say that they wouldn't hold up.
But you were going to tell them not to use
It don't mean that I
It
thought...
means you knew they'd crash.
It don't mean
Then
that.
you thought they'd crash.
I was afraid maybe...
Oh, you were afraid, maybe. God in heaven, what kind of man are you? Kids were hanging in the air by those heads, and you knew that!
For you. A business for you.
Oh, for me. Where do you live? Where have you come from for me? I was dying every day, and you were killing my boys, and you did it for me? What the hell do you think I was thinking of? The business. Is that as far as your mind can see? The business? What is that? The world? The business? What the hell do you mean you did it for me? Don't you have a country? Don't you live in the world? What the hell are you? You know, you're not even an animal. No animal kills its own. What are you? What must I do to you? Right until the tongue out of your mouth! What must I do? What must I do? Jesus God, what must I do?
Chris! Why, Chris?
Any news?
No news.
Can't sit up all night here, dear. Why don't you go to bed?
I'm waiting for Chris. Don't worry about me, Jim. I'll be perfectly all right.
It's almost 2 o'clock.
I can't sleep. You had an emergency?
Oh, somebody had a headache and thought he were dying. Half my patients are quite bad. I realize some people are just walking around loose and they're cracked as coconuts. Money, 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 money. You say it long enough, it doesn't mean anything. Love to be around when that happens.
You're so childish, Jim. Sometimes you are.
Kate, what happened?
I told you. Got in an argument with Joe. We got in the car and drove off.
What kind of an argument?
An argument. Joe, he was crying like a child before.
They argued about Ann?
No, not Anne. Imagine. She hadn't come out that room since he left. Whole night in that room.
What'd Joe do? Tell him?
Tell him what?
I've known Kate. I've always known.
How?
It occurred to me a long time ago.
I always thought, in the back of his mind, Chris almost knew. I didn't think it'd be such a shock.
Chris wouldn't know how to live with a thing like that. See, it takes a certain talent of mine. You have it and I do, but He doesn't.
What do you mean? He's not coming back?
Oh no, he'll come back, Kate. We all come back. These private little revolutions always die. Compromise is always made. The peculiar way Frank is right. Every man does have a star. You spend your life groping for it, but once it goes out, it never quite lights up again. I don't think he went far. I think he just wanted to be alone and watch his own star go out.
Just as long as he comes back.
You know, I wish he wouldn't, Kate. One year I simply took off, went to New Orleans. For 2 months I lived off of bananas and milk and studied a certain disease. It was beautiful. Then she came. She cried. I went home with her. Now I'm stuck in the usual darkness. I can't find myself. It's hard sometimes to remember the kind of man that I wanted to be. But I'm a good husband. Chris is a good son. He'll come back. I think he's in the park. I'll go looking for him. Put it to bed, Joe. This is no good for what she's got.
What did he want?
His friend is not home.
I don't like you mixing in so much.
It's too late, Joe. He already knows.
How does he know?
Guessed a long time ago.
I don't like that.
But you don't like.
Yeah, what I don't like.
You can't bully yourself through this one, Joe. This thing is not over yet.
And what is she doing? She don't come out of the room.
I don't know. What is she doing? Sit down. Stop being mad. You want to live? You better figure out your life.
She don't know, does she?
She saw Chris storming out of here. It's 1 and 1. She knows how to add.
She wouldn't say anything.
Don't ask me, Joe.
Then who do I ask? She wouldn't say anything.
You're asking me again.
I'm asking you. What am I, a stranger? I thought I had a family here. What happened to my family?
You do have a family. I'm simply telling you I have no strength to think anymore.
You have no strength? The minute there's trouble, you have no strength?
Joe, you're doing the same thing again. All your life, whenever there's trouble, you yell at me and you think that settles it.
Then what do I do? Tell me. Talk to me. What do I do?
Joe, I've been thinking this way. If he comes back,
What do you mean, if? He's coming back.
I think if you sit him down and you explain yourself, I mean, you ought to make it clear to him you know you did a terrible thing. I mean, if you told him that you realized what you did, you see.
What ice does that cut?
I mean, if you told him you're willing to pay for what you did.
How can I pay?
Tell him that you're willing to go to prison.
I'm willing to go to
You
prison.
wouldn't go. He wouldn't ask you to go. If you told him that you wanted to, if he could feel that you wanted to pay, maybe he would forgive you.
Forgive me. For what?
Joe, you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean. You wanted money, so I made money. You wanted money, didn't you?
I didn't want it that way.
Well, I didn't want it that way either. I spoiled the both of you. I should have put him out when he was 10, like I was put out. Then he'd know how a real buck was made in this world. I could live off a quarter a day, but I got a family, so I...
Joe, don't excuse it that you did it for the family.
It's got to excuse it.
There's something bigger than the family. to
Nothing's
him.
bigger.
There is to him.
There's nothing that he could do that I wouldn't forgive. Because I'm his father, and he's my son.
I tell you,
Nothing's bigger. And you're gonna tell him that, you understand me? Because if there is something bigger, then I'll put a bullet in my head.
You stop that!
You heard me! Now you know what to tell him. But he wouldn't do that to me, though. Would he?
He loved you, Joe. You broke his heart.
But to put me away.
I don't know. I'm starting to think we don't really know him. They say in the war he was such a killer. Here he was afraid of mice. I don't know him. I don't know what he'll do.
If Larry was alive, he wouldn't act like this. He understood the way the world worked. He listened to me. The world had a 40-foot front and ended at the building line. This one, everything bothers him. You make a deal, overcharge 2 cents, and his hair falls out. Yes, sir, Larry. That was the boy we lost. Larry. What am I gonna do, Kate?
Joe, you'll be all right. Nothing is going to happen.
For you, Kate? For the both of you, that's all I've ever lived for.
I know, dear. I know.
Why do you wait up? I'll tell you when he comes.
You haven't had supper yet, have you? Why don't you make her something?
Sure, I'll wait.
Never mind, Kate, I'm all right. There's something I want to tell you. I'm not going to do anything about it.
Oh, she's a good girl. You see, she's a good girl.
I'll do nothing about Joe. But you're going to do something for me. You made Chris feel guilty with me. Whether you wanted to or not, you've crippled him in front of me. I want you to tell him that Larry's dead and that you know it. You understand? I'm not going out of here alone again. There's no life for me that way. I want you to set him free. And then I promise you, everything will end, will go away, and that's all.
You'll do it. You'll tell him.
You had 2 sons, Kate. Now you've only got 1.
You'll tell him.
And you'll say it to him so he knows you mean it.
My dear, if the boy was dead, it wouldn't depend on my words to make Chris know it. The night he crawls into your bed, his heart will dry out because he knows, and you know to his dying day he'll wait for his brother. No, my dear. No such thing. You're going in the morning and you're going alone. That's your life. That's your lonely life.
Larry is dead, Kate!
Don't speak to
I
me!
said he's dead, I know! He crashed off the coast of China November 25th. His engine didn't fail him, but he died, I know.
You lied to me. How did he die? If you know, how did he die?
I loved him, Kate. You know I loved him. When I've looked at anyone else, if I wasn't sure, that's enough for you.
What's enough for me? What are you talking
You're hurting
about?
my ribs.
What are you talking about?
No, go in the house.
Why should I?
Please go.
Let me know when he comes.
Sit down. First, you've got to understand that when I came, I didn't have any idea that Joe... I had nothing against him or you. I came to get married. I hoped. So I didn't bring this to hurt you. I thought I'd show it to you if there was no other way to settle Larry in your mind.
Larry?
He wrote it to me just before you.
me. I tried to tell you 100 times. Why wouldn't you believe me?
Oh my God.
Kate. I'm so sorry, Kate.
Oh my God. Oh my
Please.
God.
Please.
What's the matter?
You're all perspired. Where were you?
Just look around. Where's Dad?
Inside lying down.
Sit down. I'll say what there is to say.
I didn't hear the
No.
car.
I left in the garage.
Jim's out looking for
Mother.
you.
I'm going away. There are a couple firms in Cleveland. I think I could get a place. I mean, I'm going away for good. Annie, I know what you're thinking. It's true. I'm yellow. I was made yellow in this house because I suspected my father and I did nothing about it. But if I knew that night what I know now, he'd be in the district attorney's office by this time, and I'd have brought him there. Now, if I look at him, all I'm able to do is cry.
What are you talking about? What else can you do?
I could jail him. I could jail him if I were human anymore. But I'm like everybody else now. I'm practical. You made me practical.
But you have to be.
The cats in the alley are practical. The bums who ran away when we were fighting were practical. Only the dead ones weren't practical. Or the practical ones here. But now I'm practical. And I spit on myself. Going away.
I'm coming with you.
No, Anne.
Chris, I don't ask you to do anything about Joe.
You do.
I
You
swear
do.
I never will.
In your heart, you always will.
Do what you've got to do.
Do what? What else is there to do? I've looked all night for a reason to make him suffer.
There's reason. There is reason.
What? Do I raise the dead after I put him behind bars? Then we'll all do it for him. You know, we used to shoot a man who acted like a dog, but there was real honor there. There, you protected something. But here, this is the land of great big dogs, and you don't love a man, you eat him. That's the principle. The only one we live by. It just only happened to kill a few people this time, that's all. The world's that way. How can I take it out on him? You know, what sense does that make? This is a zoo. A zoo!
You know what you've got to do. Tell him.
Let him go.
I won't let him go. You'll tell him what he's got to do,
Annie!
or I will.
Hey, what's the matter with you? I want to talk to you.
Got nothing to say to you.
I want to talk to you.
Don't do that, Dad! I'm going to hurt you if you do that. There's nothing to say, so say it quick.
What exactly is the matter? What's the matter? You got too much money? Is that what bothers you?
It bothers me.
If you can't get used to it, then throw it away. You hear me? Take every cent and give it to charity. Throw it in the sewer. Does that settle it? In the sewer. If you don't like it, you can burn it. It's not my money. It's your money. I'm a dead man. I'm an old dead man. Nothing's mine. Well, talk to me. What do you want me to do?
It's not what I want to do. It's what you want to do.
What should I want to do? Jail? You want me to go to jail? Is that where I belong? Well, tell me. You can can say everything else to me. Why can't you say that? I'll tell you why. Because you know I don't belong there. You know. Do you think a gun or truck got shipped out of Detroit before they got their price? Is that clean? It's dollars and cents. Nickels and dimes, war and peace. It's nickels and dimes. Nothing's clean. Half the damn country's got to go if I go. Is that why?
That's exactly why.
Then why am I bad?
I know you're no worse than most men. But I thought you were better. You know, I didn't see you as a man. I saw you as my father. Now I can't look at you this way. I can't look at myself.
Give that to me.
He's going to read it. Larry. He wrote it to me the day he died.
Larry.
Chris, it's not for you. Joe, go away.
Why did she say Larry?
Go to the street, Joe. Go to the street. Please, Chris. Don't tell him.
Three and 1/2 years. Talking. This is how he died. You listen to this and you tell me where you belong.
Chris, a man can't be a Jesus in this world.
I know all about this world. I know the whole crap story. Now you listen to this and you tell me what a man's got to be. My dear Anne, you listening? He wrote this the day he died. You don't cry, you listen. My dear Anne, it is impossible to put down the big things I feel, but I've got to tell you something. Yesterday, they flew in a load of papers from the States, and I read about Dad and your father being convicted. I can't express myself. I can't tell you how I feel. I can't bear to live anymore. Last night, I circled the base for 20 minutes before I could bring myself in. How could he have done that? Every day, 3 or 4 men never come back, and he sits back there doing business. I don't know how to tell you how I feel. I'm going out on a mission soon. They'll probably report me missing. If they do, I must tell you, man, that you mustn't wait for me. And if I had him here now, I could kill him. Now in the world. You understand that, Len?
I think I do. Get the car. I'll get my jacket.
Why are you going? You asleep. Why are you going?
I can't sleep here. I'll sleep better if I go.
You're so foolish. Larry was your son too, wasn't he? You know he'd never ask you to do this.
And what is this if it isn't asking? Yes, he was my son. But I think to him they were all my sons. I guess they were. I guess they were. I'll be right out.
You're not going to take him.
Take him.
It's up to you. If you tell him to stay, he'll stay. Go and tell him.
Nobody can stop him now.
You'll stop him. How long will he live in prison? Are you trying to kill him?
I thought you read this.
The war is over. Didn't you hear? The
stone that fell in the water. Larry didn't die to make you and Dad sorry. What more can we be? You can be better! Once and for all, you can understand that there's a universe of people out there and you're responsible to it. Unless you know that, you threw away your son. Because that's why he died! Bye, Jim.
Joe. 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 Don't, dear. Don't take it on yourself. Forget now. Live.
Y'all moving the cast.
Good job! What a win!